Hey, I'm going to make a quick review about last week. I'm focusing on PSP candles in quarterly theory. If you don't know what a PSP candle is, that is a precision swing point. It's when a highly correlated asset, such as NQ and ES, makes a red candle on one of the assets and then a green candle on the other. Here's an example of one up here on this 4-hour chart. NQ made a green candle, and if we look at ES, it's a red candle. Now, precision swing points typically will indicate when something is about to change. So either a downtrend can be finishing, consolidation can be finishing, or a reversal can be happening. Now, when it's precision swing point is typically called precision swing point because it's meant to be a swing like this. This is a swing low. This is a swing low. And then this one was more at the highs. This is a swing high, technically. And if we see the equal candle on ES, this was a swing high. A little above it formed a pullback. So yeah, precision swing point typically is a swing high or swing low. Now, if it's not a swing high or swing low, it's called a precision candle. But I'll just be calling it a PSP candle during this video to just keep it brief. Now, let's go back to the large drop that happened last weekend. So on the Sunday Asia opening between NQ and ES and YM. So right now I've got replay mode activated, and we're kind of going to go through this and show you what I saw. So this is the Friday close, and we'll just go forward a few bars. Okay, here is the Sunday open making a large gap down. Now, why I highlighted the 4-hour chart is because with quarterly theory, you got to look at SMT between quarters. So the end of January was quarter 4. So we're going to look at the low here to determine if we're going to have bullish monthly SMT. And then we'll kind of dive into PSP candles that formed afterwards, after we got our bullish idea. So ES, we already broke that low. And YM, we broke the low. It took like an extra 30 minutes to break its low, but it broke its low. Now, what you want to do is wait for a 4-hour close, and why you want to do that is because NQ could catch up, right? And then you're not going to have bullish SMT. You cannot assume that this candle, because it broke low, we're already in bullish structure. Don't assume that. You'll get pulled back on or faked out, or NQ during this 4-hour candle could push down further and not form SMT at all. And then you would just watch price in a bullish way. So at this time, I tweeted the fact that I saw ES took last week's low. So this is like, look, 2 minutes. 2 minutes after opening. So my time, this is the Asian Open. I'm in Pacific Standard Time. So at 3 p.m., ES took last week's low. NQ did not yet. I'm waiting for a 4-hour close, and then we could be bullish. Okay, and what happened last week? We dipped that night, and we rallied and had various pullbacks, but we ended up taking last week's high by the end of this week. So let's just kind of look at it from this bullish mindset. So now let's move forward. Now you want to have a PSP candle form after a sequential. So this is monthly sequential SMT. So because we're going on the 4 cycles of the month. Break out a month into 4 cycles. You got 4 weeks. Q4 versus Q1. We have a bullish SSMT. Okay, so this is our bullish SSMT. And we compare to ES. All right, it shows you right here which is stronger. The stronger one is the one that hangs up higher. Now, the stronger one is also the one you would want to be looking for longs in. Things can change on future candles. Like when you see a red candle versus a green PSP candle, the green PSP candle is the stronger asset at that moment. So if you are looking for longs further on, you can be looking at that asset. It could be flipped to ES. Maybe ES is stronger at some point. All right, let's move forward. Let's see what else happened. All right, now the very next candle was a PSP candle. So Trader Daye talks about confirmation. Now it's PSP not between NQ and ES. You see those are both green. But if we look at YM, which is part of our triad, YM showed that PSP candle. Now it's also showing its own SMT, as you can see. Lower low, higher low. Okay. So at this point, you would be looking for bullish entries. Now on this day, it didn't quite provide a lot of bullish entries in, say, this PSP wick. So ideally you'd want to buy under the candle body. I'm going to just change the color there. So ideally you'd want to buy under the candle body on your stronger asset. So the stronger asset here being NQ. Okay. If it's running away from you, it's up to you to determine if you find your own entries that you like. So I'll show you YM did end up dipping here, providing its own entries, but as you can see, YM is the weaker asset. It has the red candle showing that it is more likely to retrace into its wick on pullbacks, and that's exactly what it did. If we kind of move forward, it pulled back into its wick. It even came down again. So here's a potential entry, right? So if you're watching YM dip into its discount of the wick, so sometimes I like to measure out 50% of the wick to see, okay, what would be the ideal discount entry here. Now PSP candles, this bottom is not like safe, right? It can dip under here and take liquidity and then come back up. So what you want to do is watch for the reactions in price after it comes into this area. Discount is under the candle body at all, and 50% and 75% area, those are like deep discounts. Now you want to see, okay, well, when it gets here, what does price do? Now, what did price do when it came down here? Well, it came into a bullish FBG on NQ, being the stronger asset. This would have been, right, an amazing entry. So, hindsight, right? But I'm trying to show you what you can look for and to know which asset should I go into, right? So either you get into NQ or you can long QQQ options or stocks, and then for YM you would get into either DIA stocks, DIA options, DIA, the Dow Jones ETF, and then here we go again. So EH, right, or sorry, ES. So ES was kind of like the middle point index, right? It wasn't the strongest and it wasn't the weakest. So the weakest was the one making the red PSP. ES was kind of middle of the road, right? So NQ also making this bear or bullish imbalance, that's also indicating, okay, I'm the stronger asset. So look at this super tiny imbalance here on ES, right? Now you can notice, where did it dip down to? NQ didn't even dip down to its PSP wick. Now ES did get into its PSP candle body down here, which is interesting, right? So it got to not quite the 50% area, but about 25% area. So candle bodies can be good discount areas on PSP candles, and sometimes you'll only get the PSP touching the top of the wick, so be aware of that. Now let's kind of move forward. So we have monthly sequential SMT. So that means you're going to stay bullish until an equal higher time frame sequential SMT happens, right? So if you get weekly SMTs happening, um, sequential SMTs or daily sequential SMTs that oppose your direction. So say you get a bearish weekly SSMT, just know that's most likely just going to result in a pullback, right? And then look for more bullish entries later on. And I can kind of show you that. Let's come down and just kind of focus on a smaller time frame. So this is also back to last week. Okay, let's mark out last week's low. 1 second, kind of highlight it here. Okay, so last week's low, let's get rid of these drawings. We'll just kind of focus on like what does PSP do on a 15-minute time frame. Okay, so this is, okay, that's the last week's low. All right, so let's get rid of these. And YM, get rid of these. All right. On a 15-minute time frame, we'll just kind of see what the week did. So you can kind of visually see what happens on a 15-minute time frame when you're looking at PSPs. Some people are asking about entries, and we can kind of go over that. Let's keep going here, move forward. All right, so ES took, okay, this is the low. ES already took the low, and YM took the low. All right, so now we know our more bullish asset. So I did trade this night, and I got in some longs. Now I was seeing overnight, if we dipped here under this 15-minute, that was ideal for me. And we did end up doing that, and I didn't have much pullback, but that was kind of my dollar cost average lower entry. I was getting in a little bit higher. So for me, I'm interested in under this candle body. See, also this is a green PSP candle. We also are seeing, all right, well, which is our stronger asset? That one, okay? This is not a swing low, right? That's not technically a PSP. It's PSP, or it's a precision swing, or it's a precision candle. Now, in YM, it is a swing point, but you'll kind of notice with backtesting that precision candle, precision swing point, kind of like tomato, they're both quite good. So you'll see price react off them for either retracements and continuation, or retracements into it for shorts and continuation down. All right, so let's just see what happened. Okay, so for me, I was buying, and I was looking to take, I was taking partials up here at 2169, and ultimately just aiming to come into the gap, right? Let's see. All right, so let's kind of move forward. Another 15-minute PSP candle. So this is showing you potentially another area where you can scalp. Okay, kind of, it's up to you, right? So sometimes I like to scalp to buy under, sell over for small scalps, and that is 140 ticks. So that's quite a bit. You can get good P&L off of that. So let's just kind of see where we go. Okay, another dip, a further dip. I was entering around here. Okay, another dip. So this is ideal. I think this ended up being the low. And if you zoom in, like we're on a 15-minute chart, but if you have this level marked out and you start seeing, 5-minute inverse fair value gaps, like that's better entries. So it is better to not blindly purchase the bottom of a PSP candle or these discount areas. You can if you want, but have less risk. I've found that, right, it's not certain, it's not guaranteed that a PSP candle is going to hold up. So it's better to see the reaction and buy the reaction. So again, we're showing more SMT. So ES dipped below its low, and Q is just screaming that it's stronger, right? So this is the one. This is the one to ride. So let's keep going. I think this was like ultimately the low. So even on the 15-minute chart, we have a small inverse fair value gap. And we can just kind of see what happens. A little more dips. It dipped again into this super amazing discount area. And then I think it just kind of looked really bullish after that. So forming another FEG, bullish imbalance here on the 15-minute chart, and we are in a discount area based on this original PSP candle. You can continue to try to take profits in this 15-minute candle. You can take profit on the touch of the bottom of it, because if we are going to be bearish, you'll notice that a lot of PSP candles can form resistance. So look, you see that here, right? It touched this 15-minute PSP candle. I'll mark it as the low, and then retraced, came back down, and then came back into it. Cool, that's a good sign. Potentially, if you do see us running, you can do ads under here. So let's keep going. Okay, yep, taking profit over this PSP candle. And then ultimately we're running right to our final take profit. Okay, so this is in the London session. We got our final take profit. Let's just keep going because the day went nutty. It retraced and almost closed its gap. So let's keep going. Let's see if we got to any of these previous buy areas later in the day, which would have been here, here, to kind of re-add if you want some. And also look, if we look at the original range, discount would be down here. This one, not quite, it's getting close to it. So you probably wouldn't want to buy up here, but maybe more down here and here if you want to, if we do a dip again, which I don't think we did. Got close to it. We got into this 15-minute PSP candle for that that run up in the middle of a New York trading session before lunchtime. Okay, let's just keep looking, right? Because we're seeing PSPs form, right? These are all PSP swing lows. Now I kind of see this as an accumulation of PSPs. So if I'm ultimately still bullish on that day, then I might treat this as an area where I would buy dips. Accumulation of PSP candles. Look, here's 1, 2, 3 PSP candles. Oh, and also I have this indicator. You can find it on my X page if you go to the highlights. So if you go on my profile and you click highlights, scroll down, it's an unlisted indicator. But if you scroll down, here we go. On July 26, 2024, there's a link to it. So just so you can look it up. So it's these purple candles here are flagging the PSP candles. And when you add it to your chart, you need to update the settings to say which asset you're comparing against. So for NQ, I compare to ES. For ES, I compare to NQ. And for YM, I compare to NQ. Okay. So I see this as an accumulation now. If if I'm dipping down, look at this. If I dip to the 50% area, I am under 4 different 15-minute PSP candles. So that is like I'm looking to buy down there, right? And again, it's not best to buy blindly, right? This would go against you quite a bit. Look at that. That went against you. Let's see. I'm getting logged out of something there. This went against you about 80% or 80 to 80, not 80 ticks, 80 points. So this is quite a bit, right? If you're in heavy on NQ minis, that goes against you quite a bit. So it's always best to kind of zoom in, mark your spots, and then look for bullish recovery once it gets down here, right? So if I'm waiting for that, I could potentially hold this whole time and then start buying 2-minute and 5-minute IFVGs down here, right? And have that best entry. Okay. Up here, when I'm forming 15-minute PSP candles, I might be taking profit, right? So that can tell us that the run is over. Now, in this case, the run wasn't over for a bit. So here we have another area of 15-minute PSP candles. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3. Now you'll notice we come up and then come down, I believe. So I'm not shorting there because I'm still not bearish on the day. Typically the days aren't going to be flipping this bullish to this bearish towards the end of the day. You're just going to have dips that kind of find support. So let's kind of go and see what happened for the rest of the day. So yeah, so what you do see is that we came up over the PSP candles. Cool, fine, great. Now if you're going to short anything, right, then look to short the weaker one, which YM was the weaker one all day, right? So here's its accumulation of PSP candles. If you start shorting over it, that's not the worst idea, right? Which ended up working out, but yeah, look for weakness, short the weakness, right? We come down here, we probably form FVGs and bearish FVGs, and then can short it. And let's keep on seeing what the rest of the day did. It ended up bouncing from this area that formed PSP candles. Okay, and that's just happened to be. So we're already high. This isn't a place to start longing in the afternoon. Unless you're just like looking for scalps. Now look where we did retrace. We retraced exactly under this 15-minute PSP. That was a green candle for NQ. It was a red candle for ES, but it also formed somewhat of an SMT there. You can see NQ dipped and got under. Yes, so this is a 90-minute cycle sequential SMT. So this is the low from the second quarter in the afternoon session. This is the low from the third quarter, and you can see we formed bullish SSMT inside this PSP candle, which is pretty cool. That could give you an idea of finding entries. Okay, and if you find an entry here, maybe buying off this order block, then that is a lot of ticks. So 100 ticks at the end of the day. So there's a lot of power in PSP candles. I just kind of want to show you that. Look at the 4-hour chart for swing highs and swing lows. Let's just go through that real quick. So 4-hour chart, I'll delete my stuff, and then you'll see, like, if we're trending up and you see a 4-hour either swing high or swing low, that can be indication that either we're going to be making a pullback or the pullback is over. Okay, so let's just kind of highlight 4-hour PSP candles. All right, so we got our first one here. That was indeed the low of the week, which is great, right? If you took some DIA options there and swung it, you would have done great the rest of the week. So let's kind of move forward. I'll just kind of show you how we end up forming pullbacks with these 4-hour candles. All right, so here's a 4-hour PSP candle. So in that area, I would be thinking, all right, let's de-risk a little bit, because either if we're going to run, we're going to run. If not, we're going to pull back and possibly form another 4-hour PSP candle for the next leg up. So let's keep going. All right, we did form another PSP candle, and as you can see, I hope you all are understanding how convincing this is. The PSP candles are money makers. You can see that ES gave you the perfect opportunity here. Look at this 4-hour swing low PSP. Mark out the bottom of that candle body. Okay. Now, red candle, NQ is showing it's weaker. ES showing it's stronger. I mean, it's kind of a doji, right? But then you also have some SMT here. ES dipping below, taking liquidity, and then everything is running after that. Now, YM formed 2 PSP candles, a bunch actually. So this is kind of like the idea of a lot of liquidity under all these, and then it just ran as well. So 4-hour PSP candles can form great swing highs and swing lows. Also higher time frame trends. If you go on the week, look at this. On a week, there was a PSP candle here. And guess what's been happening after that? Things have been changing. It's accumulating and dipping. So this has been basically the high, and haven't quite got over it yet. As you can see, the weaker one, the red PSP candle, was ES, and it's, I mean, hey, look at that. We've been hanging under it. So there's a lot of power here in PSP candles, and I hope you can see that. Go ahead and put this indicator on your chart and do some back testing. If you have any questions, you can hit me up on X, or I have a free trading group. You can just follow the link in my bio. So, all right, well, I appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below, and have a great one, and good luck on your trading.